My guinea pig is acting strange. Now what do I do? Hey, it's Scotty. I'm a volunteer at the Los Angeles Guinea Pig Rescue. I get this question a lot. People ask me, my guinea pig is not acting like themselves. I think they might be sick, but I don't know what's wrong with them. So I wanted to create this video as like a checklist, as something, a way to figure out what might be wrong with your piggy and a way to go over, it's like an order of operations of what to look for if you think something's not right with your guinea pig. So the first thing I would do is just look at them and look at their energy level. Do they not want to come out of their house? Do they have an appetite? If you offer them treats, do they not want to come up and take a treat? So these are some really clear signs that maybe they are in pain or that something's wrong with them, that they are just feeling lethargic or exhausted or tired. And that can be a sign or a symptom of a number of common illnesses. So I have an entire common illness section in the free guinea pig care guide on my website, along with a number of other important resources like a worldwide vet list, a worldwide rescue list, and links to all of my social media and a contact page where you can reach out and talk to me directly. And I've got no problems. In fact, I really welcome you to reach out and ask me questions personally, but I'm not always available. Sometimes I'm on the road, I'm headed to go volunteer, or I'm on a rescue mission, or I might not be able to answer my phone quickly, and I want this video to give you a way, hi Pippi, of figuring out what's wrong with your piggies. Now, of course, it's very important to have a vet, have multiple vets, and if you think something's not right, it doesn't hurt to book the soonest vet appointment that you can. But it also is important to figure out what's wrong with your piggy so that you can communicate that clearly with your vet, because your vet is not seeing your piggy every day. They don't know what they normally act like, and they depend on you to make a proper diagnosis. Oftentimes you'll hear strange breathing, or you'll see a behavior like maybe a sneezing sound or some other sound that your guinea pig makes, and of course you rush them to the vet and they're not making that sound. So getting it on video, or being able to describe it, or being able to use that as a reference to figure out what might be wrong with them is really important, and that's what this video is all about. So just like when you're doing a health check, you want to go over their entire body and look at all of them to figure out what might be wrong with them. Listen to their breathing. You pick them up and you listen to their breathing. You look at their eyes, you look at their teeth, you look at their nose and their paws to see if there's any crust or discharge. Are their eyes clear? How are they doing physically? You want to feel them, feel for any lumps, any bumps, any wounds. Maybe they hurt their leg, or maybe they're, something wrong with their foot. So you want to look over their entire body. I mean, in some ways, a lot of this is common sense, but it also connects with the learning about common illnesses and having a certain baseline of knowledge. So once you look them over, if your piggy's not acting right, chances are one of these things is going to be present. If they're not coming out for food, maybe their breathing is weird, or they have crusty eyes, or something like that. Or maybe if they're walking with a limp, you notice that there's a cut, or you feel something. So really, you want to pay close attention to what's going on with them. And then you want to cross-reference with common illnesses. So maybe they've got some obvious skin condition that is causing them an irritation. So maybe there's hair loss, and they're scratching in a way that would correspond with mange, or maybe they have crust that would correspond with ringworm, right? They have like a fungal outbreak, and that's causing them to itch and scratch and to seem uncomfortable. Now, I do have a video, of course, what's the difference between mange and ringworm, and that explains and shows the different symptoms and how you can identify both of those, and talks about the treatments that you can do which in this case, luckily, are over-the-counter treatments that you can do at home. But you want to go through and try to figure out, well, what's wrong with my piggy? So maybe they are being lethargic, they're not coming out, and they are making a certain breathing noise. Well, that could be a symptom of a respiratory infection, or it could also be a symptom of heart disease. Now, a respiratory infection usually comes on quicker, and heart disease is usually something where over the period of weeks or months, they are just becoming less active. So you want to take into consideration the changes in behavior, how quickly it comes on, and things like that. So maybe you come in and you notice that your piggies didn't eat the veggies that you put in the cage the night before, or maybe normally when the pellet bowl would be empty, it's not, or maybe they're not drinking as much water. So those are the kind of things you want to pick them up. Do they feel bloated? Are they pooping? You know, you can take your piggy out for a little while. Now, if I suspected that my piggies weren't eating or pooping, what I want to do is immediately clean the cage, okay? Clean the cage, get rid of any old poops, and then watch them for a little while. See if they will eat, see if they produce any poops over the next couple hours. In most cases, it's going to be difficult to get a same-day exotic vet appointment. If you are just so concerned, you're just like, something's not right and I don't want to wait, there may be an emergency vet, an exotic emergency vet that you can go to. In my worldwide vet list, I've got a list of vets, and you can check and see if some of them are emergency vets open 24 hours. But in most cases, you'll have a couple hours before any vet appointment that you'd be able to get to assess their behavior and to really pay attention and see what's going on with them. It's important to have a well-stocked emergency kit for the things that you can take care of. For instance, if your piggy was feeling bloated, if you pick them up and they're puffed up, if their activity level, their energy level is very low and they seem like they're in pain, then giving them gas drops couldn't hurt. It's not a solution. It's not going to replace going to the vet and getting the proper treatment that the vet can give you. The vet can give you much more powerful medicines, motility drugs. They can do an x-ray to see if there's a blockage. There's many things that your vet can do. They have diagnostic tools that we just don't have. So it's important to make a vet appointment if you think that you need it, and if miraculously your piggy starts acting normal, you can always cancel it. There's going to be somebody on standby that called in right after you that wants a vet appointment that would be happy to take your spot. So don't worry about that. Make a vet appointment if you think you're going to need it, and if you don't go, that's totally fine. In fact, that's great. So I definitely encourage you to learn about common illnesses. Another common illness would be a urinary tract infection. Sometimes piggies develop stones, which is another issue. If your piggy is not peeing or pooping, or if they are peeing and pooping, when they pee, it's blood, or when they go to the bathroom, they seem hunched over in pain, that could be a symptom of a respiratory infection, could also be a symptom of a stone. The goal of this video is to not necessarily sit here and explain all the common illnesses. I do actually have a video, it's 5 mistakes about common illnesses. I'll put that right there. But it's also, this is about getting you thinking critically, thinking methodically, and a way for you to figure out how to assess common illnesses. So you want to look them over completely. You want to learn about common illnesses so that you can try to identify what they might be. So if your piggies, for example, we were talking about, they weren't eating, they didn't finish their food, you would want to assess them to see if they're in pain, see what their energy level is. But sometimes when piggies, they want to eat, but then they don't, that could be a sign of a tooth issue. So if you give your piggy like a piece of carrot and they're trying to eat it and they seem very hungry and they seem like they have energy, but the food is crumbling out of their mouth, that could be a sign that their molars have overgrown. And usually when their molars have overgrown, their incisors are also too long. So you want to put them down in a way where you can look in front of them and you open their mouth and look at their teeth. So that's just one of the things. Like I said, you listen to their breathing, you look for their activity, energy level, you look at their eyes, their nose, you can look in their ears, you feel them all over for any strange lumps, bumps, cuts, scabs, you know, maybe look and see if there's any bugs on them or just anything out of the ordinary. And that's going to go a long way to help you figure out what is wrong with them. And learning about common illnesses is the way that you're going to be able to take what you see and apply that to what could possibly be wrong with them. Now, you're not going to make a diagnosis necessarily. That's up to your vet to create a diagnosis and a plan of action, which may include medicine or it may include potentially surgery or some other things. You can make an educated guess, and at the LA Guinea Pig Rescue, we offer free health checks, and we are very good at figuring out what potentially could be wrong with your piggy. Now, we don't have an x-ray, so if a piggy's acting a certain way and we think there may be a stone and they're showing all those signs, they need an x-ray. We have, you know, we can't see in and just know, but we can say they're acting like there might be a stone there. And or if a piggy's sneezing and a piggy has breathing sounds, you know, we can say this is almost certainly a respiratory infection. Now, a vet, they're not going to necessarily, with a respiratory infection, take a sample and take it to the lab and confirm that there's some specific illness. If they see those symptoms that look like a respiratory infection, they will prescribe usually an antibiotic and hope that those symptoms are resolved with that course of antibiotics, which is usually how it works. Some illnesses can be 100% confirmed, like with an x-ray or some other diagnostic tool. Obviously, tooth issues, if the teeth are overgrown, obviously, then, you know, they need to be trimmed. They need to be, you know, that situation needs to be taken care of. But some illnesses, they just can be, we can see the symptoms, we can take an educated guess, and then we can give a medicine that should take care of it. Sometimes, even if it is a respiratory infection or a urinary tract infection, it takes more than one course of medication in order to actually solve that problem. And you don't want to wait. You want to get a vet appointment as soon as possible if you think that that is needed. So again, please check out my free guinea pig care guide, check out my worldwide vet list, try to find 1 or 2 vets and touch base with them. If your piggy is not sick, go in for a checkup. Go in for a checkup, get to know your vet. Checkups are reasonably inexpensive and you can get to meet your vet. That's really important, to get to know your vet, to build that trust with your vet so that in an emergency, in a medical situation, in a situation where your piggy's not feeling well, you know who you're going to, you trust them, and you have already built that relationship. So I hope that this video gives you the tools needed to figure out what might be wrong with your piggy that is going to help your vet tremendously when it comes to diagnosing and treating any illness. And I just get this message so much. People message me and they say, something's wrong with my piggy, but I can't figure out what it is. You know, you got to just run through the checklist, compare against common illnesses. Sometimes there are mystery illnesses, and that's another reason why you shouldn't wait. You want to cross-reference all of these common illnesses with the symptoms that you're seeing, not so that necessarily you can find things, but also so that you can check it off. You say, my guinea pig's not eating, check the teeth. If there's nothing wrong with their teeth, then you can rule that out. It's like, okay, well, my guinea pig's not eating, but they're sneezing. Okay, well, maybe they just don't feel well because they've got some kind of a respiratory illness. So a lot of these symptoms overlap because, as you know, we're all living creatures. When we don't feel well, we're not as hungry, we're not as active, and that could be a variety of illnesses. You could have a sore throat, you could have a tummy ache, you could have a head cold, you could have busted your knee. There could be a number of reasons why you're not feeling well and not as active. So it's really important to learn about those common illnesses and to be proactive with your guinea pig's health. And that's the best way to give them a long, happy, healthy life, and to ensure that they're going to have the best chance for a full, speedy, quick recovery. Well, I hope that this really helps. Down here, of course, is a link to my care guide, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that. It really helps the channel, and hit that like button. That will get this video out to more people, because I want everybody to have these tools and to be thinking critically and methodically when it comes to trying to figure out about these common illnesses. All right, until next time, thanks for watching.